Hello, my little readers. Welcome back. I am so excited. We're continuing because of Winn-Dixie. If y'all haven't noticed yet, Miss Gonzalez really likes to read. We are finally on 9 and 10. We still have quite a ways to go, but I think we're about, well, we're not halfway. This is all of what we've read, and this is all what we've got to go. So we still have lots of good stuff to go. But we are on chapters 9 and 10. We just left off on 7 and where Opal is finally having everything turn around for her. She is looking up. She has made an official friend with Miss Franny. She has gotten a job at Gertrude's Pets. She got invited to a birthday party. Ugh, everything is looking good for her. So we're going to keep reading and see what is going to happen. So before we begin, though, I want you guys to think about how quickly things changed for Opal within 2 chapters, okay? I want you to think about all of those text-to-self connections we kept making. I mean, we are making so many connections. Now we're mostly making text-to-self connections, but still, with all these connections where we can feel like, have I ever felt that way? Or, hey, that's happened to me before, or just this or that, or just anything that you have felt personally that connects you with this book, that's a text to self connection, my friend. And I just, oh, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And I just love reading it to you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. Let's get started. So like I said, keep in mind of those connections that we can make. I will ask you about them later. And let's see if things keep going good for Opal. Let's see. I'm hoping, I'm predicting. I want everything to go good for Opal. I don't want her to feel lonely ever again. Oh, I'm so connected with this character. I love it. Okay, let's get started. Enough rambling, Miss Gonzalez. Get on with reading. My goodness. Okay. All right, you ready? Chapter 9. Just about everything that happened to me that summer happened because of Winn-Dixie. For instance, without him, I would never have met Gloria Dump. He was the one who introduced us. What happened was this. I was riding my bike home from Gertrude's Pets, and Winn-Dixie was running along beside me. We went past Dunlap and Stevie Dewberry's house, and when Dunlap and Stevie saw me, they got on their bikes and started following me. They wouldn't ride with me. They just rode behind me and whispered things that I couldn't hear. Neither one of them had any hair on his head because their mama shaved their heads every week during the summer because of the one time Dunlap got fleas in his hair from their cat, Sadie. And now they looked like 2 identical bald-headed babies, even though they weren't twins. You gotta love how Opal describes things. She just called them, they look like 2 identical bald-headed babies, even though they weren't twins. You just gotta love how she describes it and how much sass she's got. Okay, let's keep going. Dunlap was 10 years old like me, and Stevie was 9 and tall for his age. I can hear you, I hollered back at them. I can hear what you're saying, but I couldn't. Winn-Dixie started to race way ahead of me. You better watch out, Dunlap hollered. That dog is headed right for the witch's house. Winn-Dixie, I called, but he kept on going faster and hopped a gate and went into the most overgrown jungle of a yard that I had ever seen. You better go get your dog out of there, Dunlap said. The witch'll eat your dog, Stevie said. Hush up, I told them. I got off my bike and went up to the gate and hollered, Winn-Dixie, you better come on out of there. But he didn't. She's probably eating him right now, Stevie said. He and Dunlap were standing behind me. She eats dogs all the time. Get lost, you bald-headed babies, I said. Hey, said Dunlap. That ain't a very nice way for a preacher's daughter to talk. He and Stevie backed up a little. I stood there and thought for a minute. I finally decided that I was more afraid of losing Winn-Dixie than I was of having to deal with a dog-eating witch, so I went through the gate and into the yard. Ooh, okay. A lot is happening, and we're only on the 3rd page of chapter 9. Woo! I do have to say, though, as a disclaimer, it is never okay for you to call people names. I know that we laugh at the fact that to Opal, she thought that Dunlap and Stevie looked like bald-headed babies, but being mean to them and actually calling them bald-headed babies, we don't stand for the meanness. All right, we are all about kindness. Let's keep going. And let's see what happens to Opal going into the witch's yard. That witch is going to eat the dog for dinner and you for dessert, Stevie said. We'll tell the preacher what happened to you, Dunlap shouted after me. But then I was deep in the jungle. There was every kind of thing growing everywhere. There were flowers and vegetables and trees and vines. Winn-Dixie? I said. Hee 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 hee, I heard. This dog sure likes to eat. I went around a really big tree, all covered in moss, and there was Winn-Dixie. He was eating something right out of the witch's hand. She looked up at me. This dog sure likes peanut butter, she said. You can always trust a dog that likes peanut butter. She was old, with crinkly brown skin. She had on a big floppy hat with flowers all over it, and she didn't have any teeth, but she didn't look like a witch. She looked nice, and Winn-Dixie liked her, I could tell. I'm sorry he got in your garden, I said. You ain't gotta be sorry, she said. I enjoy a little company. My name's Opal, I told her. My name's Gloria Dump, she said. Ain't that a terrible last name, Dump? My last name is Baloney, I said. Sometimes the kids at school back home in Watley called me lunch meat. Ha! Gloria Dump laughed. What about this dog? What do you call him? Winn-Dixie, I said. Winn-Dixie thumped his tail on the ground. He tried smiling, but it was hard with his mouth all full of peanut butter. Winn-Dixie? Gloria Dump said. You mean like the grocery store? Yes, ma'am, I said. Woo-wee, she said. That takes the strange name prize, don't it? Yes, ma'am, I said. I was just fixing to make myself a peanut butter sandwich, she said. You want one too? All right, I said. Yes, please. Go on and sit down, she said, pointing at a large lawn chair with the back all busted out of it. But sit down carefully. I sat down careful, and Gloria Dump made me a peanut butter sandwich on white bread. Then she made one for herself and put her false teeth in to eat it. When she was done, she said to me, You know, my eyes ain't too good at all. I can't see nothing but the general shape of things. So I gotta rely on my heart. Why don't you go on and tell me everything about yourself so I can see you with my heart? And because Winn-Dixie was looking up at her, like she was the best thing he had ever seen, and because the peanut butter sandwich had been so good, and because I had been waiting for a long time to tell some person everything about me, I did. Wow. So what I heard and I made a connection with while reading this is, have you ever judged someone before you really got to know them? So just like how Opal and Dunlap and Stevie, they thought that Gloria Dump was a witch. I mean, she was hidden in a jungle of a yard, and they thought she was a witch. I mean, she even had a witch's laugh. So they were wrong. They were wrong. They judged this woman and thought that she was a witch and thought she would eat dogs and that she was just this horrible thing. But really, she's just this sweet old lady who can't really see. And I love how she wants to know Opal so that she can rely on her heart to know someone. I think that is an amazing lesson to learn, is that you don't judge others until you get to know them. You get to know them, and you don't rely on what you see, but you rely on what your heart tells you. I love that. I love that. That is so amazing, and that just screams why kindness is so important and why we don't call people bald-headed babies. All right, let's read chapter 10. I told Gloria Dump everything. I told her how me and the preacher had just moved to Naomi and how I had to leave all my friends behind. I told her about my mama leaving, and I listed out the 10 things that I knew about her. And I explained that here in Naomi, I missed Mama more than I ever had in Watley. I told her about the preacher being like a turtle, hiding all the time inside his shell. I told her about finding Winn-Dixie in the produce department and how because of him, I became friends with Miss Franny Block and got a job working for a man named Otis at Gertrude's Pets and got invited to Sweetie Pie Thomas's birthday party. I even told Gloria Dump how Dunlap and Stevie Dewberry called her a witch. But I told her they were silly, mean, bald-headed boys, and I didn't believe them, not for long anyhow. And the whole time I was talking, Gloria Dump was listening. She was nodding her head and smiling and frowning and saying, and is that right? I could feel her listening with all her heart, and it felt good. Have you ever felt like that? Have you ever felt that when you were telling a story or you were telling someone about something that upset you or you were telling someone about your day and you felt like they were really listening to you and not just kind of like, oh, yeah, but they were really listening to you? We're making a lot of text to self connections with finding that we connect with how Opal is feeling. So many text to self connections. Oh, it's so good. All right, let's keep going. You know what? Oh, sorry, wrong voice. You know what? She said when I was all done. What? Could be that you got more of your mama in you than just red hair and freckles and running fast. Really? I said. Like what? Like maybe you got her green thumb. The two of us could plant something and see how it grows. Test your thumbs out. Okay, I said. What Gloria Dump picked for me to grow was a tree. Or she said it was a tree. To me, it looked more like a plant. She had me dig a hole for it and put it in the ground and pat the dirt around it tight, like it was a baby and I was tucking it into bed. What kind of tree is it? I asked Gloria Dump. It's a wait and see tree, she said. What's that mean? It means you gotta wait for it to grow up before you know what it is. Can I come back and see tomorrow? I asked. Child, she said, as long as this is my garden, you're welcome in it. But that tree ain't going to have changed much by tomorrow. But I want to see you too, I said. Huh, said Gloria Dump. I ain't going nowhere. I'll be right here. I woke Winn-Dixie up then. He had peanut butter in his whiskers and he kept yawning and stretching. He licked Gloria Dump's hand before we left and I thanked her. That night when the preacher was tucking me into bed, I told him how I got a job at Gertrude's Pets, and I told him all about making friends with Miss Franny Block and getting invited to Sweetie Pie's party, and I told him about meeting Gloria Dump. Winn-Dixie lay on the floor waiting for the preacher to leave so he could hop up on the bed like he always did. When I was done talking, the preacher kissed me goodnight, and then he leaned way over and gave Winn-Dixie a kiss too, right on the top of his head. You can go ahead and get up there now, he said to Winn-Dixie. Winn-Dixie looked at the preacher. He didn't smile at him, but he opened his mouth wide like he was laughing, like the preacher had just told him the funniest joke in the world. And this is what amazed me the most. The preacher laughed back. Winn-Dixie hopped up on the bed, and the preacher got up and turned out the light. I leaned over and kissed Winn-Dixie too, right on the nose, but he didn't notice. He was already asleep and snoring. End of chapter 10. Okay. I know you guys are truly seeing that Miss Gonzalez is seriously a reading book dork as well. But this is such a good book, you guys. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I could see so many visuals going in my head. Could you guys see visuals going in your head of like while you were listening to the book? Could you see it play out in your head? Oh, this gives me a good way into what your assignment is for today. So just like how in social studies you're doing something a little bit different, I want you guys to do something a little bit different for these two chapters today. So I know that you can always show me what you know by taking a small quiz. However, I love seeing kids' creativity. So you may pick whichever chapter you want, and you're going to draw me what you saw when listening to these chapters. So, for instance, some examples. So from chapter 9, let me go back and refresh myself real quick. So from chapter 9, okay, you can see Opal riding her bike with Winn-Dixie. You can see the two brothers riding behind her. You can see Opal walking up to the jungle yard that is Miss Gloria Dump's yard. And you can see like just her like worried, like, oh my gosh, what is Winn-Dixie doing? I can't see him. It's a jungle of a yard. Where is he? And then you can see her walking up and seeing Winn-Dixie licking peanut butter from Miss Gloria Dump. And you can see, you know, them sitting down and eating peanut butter sandwiches. You can see them sitting together and just talking. You can see how I don't know about you guys, but I can see a picture of Gloria Dump in my head. Now, it doesn't describe her except for the fact that she's an old, crinkly woman and she can't really see very well. So I just imagine just this old little woman, very frail, just very fragile and just very little. And I imagine her in a garden hat and just in a little apron. And I mean, I see her just, with just some haze over her eyes, meaning like you can't really see the beautiful color of the eye. It's just very glassed over. And like I can just see like the big heart, like just a big heart that she has. And I see her holding a peanut butter sandwich, excuse me. I see her sitting and talking to Opal. I see them planting the tree together. I can see that in my head. I can see, the tree growing over time. I see the preacher tucking in Opal into bed. I see Winn-Dixie laying in bed with Opal. There's so many parts of these two chapters where it's just visually like, it's amazing. So that's why I want you guys to similarly draw out a chapter, draw out a scene from the chapter that you liked the best. Like personally, I'm so in love with chapter 9 so far. There's just so much wonderfulness in that chapter. Like I can't get over the rely on my heart to see people. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love it. So you guys are going to pick a scene from a chapter and you are going to draw me that scene. So very similar to how you guys are doing the social studies assignment, the little project. You're drawing, you're following the rubric. I'll put a rubric up here for you guys so that you can follow it and help you to see, okay, this is what Ms. Gonzalez is looking for. It's the same thing. I just want to see your creativity. I want to see your knowledge on the page. I want to see color. I want to see it all. I want to see it all, okay? Now, if you guys have any questions or you need any help, you know where to find me. I will be here. I'll see you guys later. Bye.